Okay, so it's dinner time. What are you going to put together? What about a lamb kofta kebab with a hummus and beetroot dip and a nice refreshing yogurt and mint dip on the side as well? So let's go for it. Come over here. Let me show you what we've got. First of all, we've got a pan, nice on the stove with some nice heat. Got some chopped up onions, some garlic, a little bit of salt, some chili, cumin, ground cumin and seed cumin, a little bit of coriander and some olive oil. So first of all, we're going to start with sauteing the onions. And we'll put all of the onions in there. And we're going to use about a pound of mince. So this is going to take a little bit of time to saute. And while that's going on, we'll put just a little bit of salt to help extract some of the water out and mix all of this up. And we'll add on the garlic as well. So while that's sauteing, and obviously we're sauteing it with a little bit of olive oil, I've got the minced lamb here. It's just over a pound of minced lamb. Already washed my hands, but we wash them again. It's always good to keep clean and keep cleaning as you go. Now we just keep an eye on this so it doesn't burn. We've got it on quite high here. Right, so with the minced lamb, we'll just season it, a little bit of salt, a little bit of ground pepper. Not too much because we're still going to put some different heat in here as well. A little bit of oil, a little bit of olive oil. Not too much because again, this is a very fatty meat. And here, I've got a handful of chopped coriander and a handful of chopped mint that I'm going to put in, and we'll just start working that together. So we'll get our hands in there and really work it together. Right. So now you can have a look at how sauteed that is now. Now we're going to really spice things up a little bit. We'll put in a little bit of chili flakes. Got a few chili flakes here. We'll give it a little bit of heat, maybe about half a teaspoon of chili flakes. A little bit of ground cumin. I'm also going to put some ground coriander in here. And just give it a nice little stir, and we'll just keep sauteing all of this mixture together. And we want to blend it down a little bit. We want it to reduce quite a bit. Again, without using too much oil, if it gets a little bit too dry, don't be shy just to put a little bit of water in, rather than keep adding the oil all of the time. Remember, the lamb is a very fatty meat anyway. It's going to have quite a bit of fat on there to melt away. So we'll just saute that a little bit further down, and we'll come back in a minute and see what we do. If we just come over here and have a look at the lamb mix, we put in mint, coriander, some salt and a little bit of pepper and mixed it all up. Now what we do with the mix, with the sauteed onions and garlic and all of those lovely spices, is that now we'll put that into the mince. Like this, and really mix this up. But while we're doing that, because I'm not going to have enough time, a plate on the side, a little bit of olive oil on the plate to spread that around a little bit. There we go. And now we'll start to mix in all of these spices together. And really get your hand in there and blend this all together, because this is really going to be your kofta. Now, in different countries around the Middle East and Western or Eastern Europe, you have koftas on skewers, you have, these are sort of fancy meatballs, and you can do them as balls, as whatever you wish. right? I'm just going to make them into small little rectangles so they're bite-sized pieces when we cook them. Okay. And now, if you just have a little bit of oil on your hands or a little bit of oil on top of the meat, as you start playing about with them, they're not going to stick together. And by having the oil already on the plate, you don't need to oil it again. So make them into nice, thickish rectangles or squares, and we'll keep on playing that. So now we've got them into little biscuit sized, and we've got some oil on the plate and a little bit of olive oil on top. We're going to put them in the fridge for half an hour so they can solidify. And while that is happening, we're going to start with the hummus and beetroot. All right. Look at this. Absolutely wonderful. Put a couple of teaspoons in, or tablespoons in. Excuse the hands, but again, I've been washing my hands and keeping everything clean all of the way through. Okay. And now with a hand blender, obviously if you've got a standard blender you can use that, but with a hand blender we'll just blend that and we'll see how that goes. I've been mixing this for a couple of minutes now, and as you can see that beautiful red colour. And I also put in a teaspoon of ground cumin in here. Now let's have a look at the taste of this. Oh, what amazing. All right, now last little bits to present it. So let's get this out and pour it in here. Just have a look at this. Have a look at that consistency and the color of this beautiful chickpea hummus with beetroot. You can't go wrong with this. How can you go wrong with this? It's amazing. Oh. And there we go. That's what it looks like. Look at that lovely red color. And to finish it off, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of cumin on. If you've got some sesame seeds, you can sprinkle a little bit of sesame seeds on top as well. And that's all we need to do. Now we'll put it in the fridge and we'll wait for the rest. Now we're going to start with the yogurt dip. We're going to make the kofta on a griddle. So I put the griddle on high heat, and while that's warming up, we're going to make this lovely yogurt dip. If I had a mortar and pestle, I'd use that initially, but I don't, so I'm just going to blend all of these together. So we start with some mint, plenty of mint leaves to really lift this up and give it some energy. Some beautiful mint leaves in here. A little bit of cumin. Some salt. And some pepper. And all of this would be in a mortar and pestle, and we'll start to blend it together. And then we'll add the yogurt. But because I don't, I'm just going to blend it all together right now. I've got some zero fat yogurt with no sugar, no nothing in there at all. And I'll put that in there as the emulsifier. And we start to blend all of this together. Okay. This is all together. Again, if you had mortar and pestle, you'd be able to use that. I'm just going to put a little bit more salt in because there didn't seem to be that much in there. And finally, just some lemon. I've de-seeded the lemon and squeezed some of that lemon in there, and that will drop that little guy, which is okay. I managed to get enough out, and we blend it in. The lemon just lifts it and gets that freshness out of the yogurt and mint dip. It's in India it would be called like a raita. It's a bit of a raita. And there we go. And we'll put that in the fridge and wait. And now we're going to start with cooking. All right, so kofta can be cooked on a barbecue, on skewers, in a standard pan. I've decided to do it on a griddle pan here. So I've got the griddle pan on, and it's heating up, and you can see some of the smoke comes up. The biggest mistake that people make when they're griddling is that they try and pull off the meat too early. The idea is that it only takes 2 minutes or so, 2-3 minutes per side with the kofta, and the idea is that you put it on there and you leave it. As it charcoals, it's going to lift up by itself. That way it's not going to break up. All right, so it's been on for a couple of minutes now, and if I take this off and have a look, all of the oil that you can see on there is just a fat from the meat that's come off. And now I'm going to peel them off, and hopefully they're not going to break off at all. Oh, that's not too bad. Let's turn this off. Beautiful. Then it really, see the charcoal there? Now I'll turn off the rest, I'll turn over the others, and I'll leave it in there for a couple of moments. While that's cooking off for the last couple of minutes, obviously you need something to dip into the dips, some crackers to dip into dips. So I'm using this white corn tortilla. I've sliced them up into triangles, as you can see, put them on some foil on a baking tray, and used some garlic olive oil with literally just a drop of olive oil on each. And I put them in the grill for 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes each, and then we've got some lovely crackers. So let's have a look. So we've plated up the kofta now. Look at that. These are the tortilla chips that we just made. Look how wonderful they are. And we'll bring out the hummus with beetroot and the yogurt and mint dip. The one thing you could also do with the hummus and beetroot is put some lemon in there. I love lemon, but my dinner guest this evening doesn't, so I've kept lemon out. So I'm going to mix some lemon in on my portion. But what do you think of this? Isn't this awesome? Now, look at that setup. Obviously, we're going to have a nice little homemade beer with this as well. But how appetizing does this look? You know how appetizing it looks? Bloody appetizing. That's how appetizing it looks. What do you think? Some thumbs up? Yeah!